Hello students. Now in this class we are going to study the second lecture of the chemical equilibrium. Okay. Now what is the definition of a molar concentration, otherwise active mass? Now this is nothing but the effective concentration. Nothing but what? Effective concentration. That means the part of the concentration which is involved in the reaction. Are you getting my point? The part of the concentration of a species which involved in the reaction. That means on which part of the concentration the rate of a chemical reaction will depend is nothing but the active mass or molar concentration. Are you getting my point? It is a part of that concentration on which the rate of a chemical reaction depends. In generally, the rate of a reaction depending upon different factors like concentration, temperature, pressure, catalyst. Among these parameters, concentration is one of the important parameter. Okay. Now, on which concentration the rate of a reaction depends, particularly that concentration is known as a molar concentration or active mass. Okay. Now, there is a formula to calculate the active mass. Active mass is equal to what? Activity coefficient multiplied by molar concentration. Activity coefficient multiplied by molar concentration is equal to what? Active mass. So active mass is equal to, that is A is equal to F into C, where A is called active mass, F is called activity coefficient, and C is called molar concentration. Now the activity coefficient F is that fraction of the molecules which reached the energy barrier. That means, let's suppose we have 100 molecules. In the reaction, what happens? These molecules try to collide with each other to increase their kinetic energy. Thereby, if they possess the energy barrier, that is the reaction barrier, if the molecules cross that energy barrier, definitely they converted into products. If the reacting molecules unable to cross that energy barrier, that means they bounced back again into the reactant site. Again they themselves collide with each other and they increases their kinetic energy. Once this kinetic energy overcross the energy barrier, then they will give the products, that is effective collisions. Effective collisions alone lead to the formation of the products. Okay. Now the energy barrier, the fraction of a molecule that reach the energy barrier, that fraction will be obviously less than 1. Sometimes we can also say less than or equal to 1. If the activity coefficient is less than or equal to 1, then definitely active mass will be less than or equal to molar concentration. Okay. Now in case of a dilute solutions, let's suppose we have a very dilute solution, in the sense the volume increases or concentration decrease in the concentration or increase in the volume. Okay. When volume increases, let's suppose volume tends to infinity, then concentration tends to zero. How we know? Concentration is equal to number of moles upon volume in liters. Let's suppose we have 1 mole of a solute in V liters of the solution. Now volume of a solution, let's suppose, tends to infinity. That means on dilution we are adding much more amount of solvent on diluting. Okay. The concentration of a solution almost tends to what happens? 0. This is called very dilute solution. Which solution? Very dilute solution. In very dilute solutions, what happens? The activity coefficient assumed to be 1. When the activity coefficient assumed to be 1, then activity nothing but the molar concentration. So that's why here activity nothing but the molar concentration. Activity nothing but what? Molar concentration. Okay, now the activity or active mass generally expressed by enclosing the formula of a reacting species in a square brackets. Let's suppose I have component A, so I have to write the reacting species A in a square bracket. Let's suppose I have a reacting species B, so we have to mention the symbol of that species in a enclosed square bracket. Enclosed square bracket corresponding to active mass. Corresponding to what? Active mass. Now, how to find the active mass? Nothing but the molar concentration. We know in concentration terms, molar concentration nothing but the molarity. How to find the molarity? Number of moles of a substance divided by volume of the solution in liters. Volume of a solution in liters. Number of moles N, volume V. Okay, N by V. Now, what is the formula to calculate the number of moles? Given mass upon molar mass divided by volume. Do you know weight upon volume is equal to density? Yes. Divided by what? Gram molecular weight. So finally we can write density upon gram molecular weight is the formula to calculate the molar concentration. Okay, now come to pure solids and pure liquids. What happens? The density do not change, it will be remains constant. Why? Do you know the density of a solids liquids is fixed? Okay, and their molar mass is also constant. So the ratio between the two constants is again a constant. That's why the active mass corresponding to pure solids, pure liquids is taken as constant, and this constant is assumed to be unity for calculation point of view. Okay, so we should not consider the active mass of the pure solids, pure liquids. Whenever there is a pure solid or a pure liquid, that active mass arbitrarily assumed to be what? Assumed to be what? Unity. Let's suppose I have limestone CaCO3. Do you know CaCO3 is a pure solid whose active mass is arbitrarily assumed to be 1 molar, 1 mole per liter. Are you getting my point? Let's say quicklime is there, CaO, whose active mass is arbitrarily assumed to be unity constant. That constant value assumed to be 1. Okay, now this is for pure solids and pure liquids only. But in case of gaseous substances, the active mass is taken as their partial pressure. As their what? Partial pressure. Okay, now there are 1-2 questions regarding the active mass. The active mass is defined as option number of gram equivalents per unit volume. No. Number of gram moles per liter. Yes, this is the definition of the active mass. Number of moles here, number of moles divided by volume of the solution in liters. Okay, second option is the correct. Now assertion reasoning type question. The active mass of the pure solids and pure liquids taken as unity. Just now I told you the active mass of the pure solids and pure liquids depend on density and also molecular mass. Density and molecular mass of a pure liquids and pure solids are constant. Just now I told you. So that's why the active mass of pure solids and pure liquids taken as a constant, and that constant will assume to be unity. So both are correct and correct explanation. Okay, first option. Are you getting my point? Now come to one problem is there here. In a 2-liter closed container, we have 3 gases: 8 grams of helium, 5.6 grams of nitrogen, and 128 grams of sulfur dioxide. The question is find their active masses. Are you getting my point? So what is the formula to calculate the active mass? Number of moles divided by volume. Okay, now to calculate the active mass, number of moles whole divided by volume. Okay, Let's suppose the first one, helium. Active mass represented by square bracket, enclosing in a square bracket. Okay. Now, what is the number of moles of helium? Given mass of helium, do you know molar mass of helium is 4 divided by volume of the vessel is 2 liters. So you have 1 mole per liter. This is the active mass of the helium. Now come to second gas is there, dinitrogen. Okay, active mass of nitrogen is equal to, what is the weight of the nitrogen given to you? 5.6 grams. Do you know what is the molar mass of dinitrogen? 28 divided by, what is the volume of the container? 2 liters. So 55.6 by 56, answer will be 0.1 moles per liter. And one more gas is there, that is a sulfur dioxide. Okay. Now, what is the weight of a sulfur dioxide given to you? 128 whole divided by, what is the molar mass of sulfur dioxide? 64. How? Sulfur atomic mass 32, each oxygen 16, there are 2 oxygens, 32 plus 32, 64. Divide by volume of the container, that is the 2 liters. Again the answer will be 1 mole per liter. This is the calculation of what? Active mass. How to calculate the active mass? Given number of moles divided by volume of the container. Volume of the container. Okay. Now, there is an important topic, that is law of mass action. The important topic next one is what? Law of mass action. It was introduced by C.M. Goldberg and P. Wag. These are the two people who try to explain the relation between the rate of a chemical reaction and the concentration of the reacting species. Concentration of the reacting species. Are you getting my point? Now here, according to this law, the chemical reaction, the rate of a chemical reaction at any instant. Now, the rate of a chemical reaction at any instant is directly proportional to the product of the molar concentration or active mass of the reactants and their stoichiometry raised to their powers at that instant at a given temperature, isn't it? That means the rate of any chemical reaction at any instant is directly proportional to the product of the active masses of the reactants and their stoichiometry raised to their powers at that instant at a constant temperature. This is very important. Temperature must be constant because it is also one of the factors which affect the rate of a reaction. That's why the temperature must be kept to constant. Okay. Now here I am assuming one reversible reaction, small a into capital A plus small b into capital B. Equilibrium, small c moles capital C and small c moles capital D. Here small a, small b, small c, small d stoichiometric coefficients of capital A, capital B, capital C and capital D. Okay. Now, let's suppose consider the forward reaction. What is the forward reaction? Small a, capital A, small b, capital B to give small c moles capital C, small d moles capital D. Okay. Now what we are applying? Law of mass action. What is the statement of law of mass action? Simple statement. What I am writing here: rate of reaction directly proportional to concentration of reactants. This is the simple definition of law of mass action. What is the simple definition of law of mass action? Rate of a reaction directly proportional to concentration of the reactant. That concentration we can say active mass or molar concentration. Okay. Now here the rate of forward reaction, that is RF, is directly proportional to product of the concentration of the reactants. We have two reactants A and B and their product is A into B. Okay. Now what is the stoichiometry of A? Small a. And what is the stoichiometry of the B? Small b. So that stoichiometric coefficients must be raised to their powers. Are you getting my point? Now here this is hypothetical. Now actually rate of a forward reaction directly proportional to the product of the concentration of the active mass of A and B and their powers, let's suppose some x comma y. Okay, this is experimental. This is what? Experimental. Now here the important thing is the exponent. Here the exponent, a exponent small a, here the a exponent is the x. So a x may or may not be equal. Exponent b and exponent y may or may not be equal. Okay, now exponent a will be equal to x and b will equal to y only for elementary reactions. Which reactions? Elementary reactions. They are not equal to a not equal to x and b not equal to y. This is for complex reactions. This is very important. Complex reactions are those reactions which occur in more than one step. Elementary reactions are those which occur in the single step. Let's suppose in organic chemistry we know SN2 reaction, concerted reaction, one step reaction. E2 reaction, this is also concerted reaction, one step reaction. In one step reaction the stoichiometry and the powers both are equal, but in complex reaction it is not possible because in complex reaction there are more than one steps involved. Okay, now here I am writing Rf is equal to some proportionality constant. I am writing Kf into a to the power small a b to the power small b according to law of mass action. This is the equation number 1. Equation number 1. Now here what is the Kf rate constant? Rate constant of forward reaction. What is the Rf? Rate of forward reaction. Rate of reaction or rate of forward reaction is Rf and rate constant is Kf. Okay, now come to, there is a reverse reaction is also there, backward reaction, where small c moles of capital C, small c moles of capital D, they recombine to give small a moles of capital A and small b moles of capital B. Again from the law of mass action, what happens? The rate of backward reaction is directly proportional to product of the concentration of the active masses of the corresponding species, that is C and D, small c and small d I am writing here. Okay, now this is hypothetical. Okay, but as per experiment if we observe the powers, let's suppose alpha beta. Okay, alpha value equal to C, beta value equal to D, or alpha not equal to C, beta not equal to D. Okay, this is corresponding to elementary reaction and this is for complex reactions. Are you getting my point? In elementary reactions, whatever the stoichiometry that is raised to the power, both are same, but in complex reaction the stoichiometry and powers completely different. Okay, now here this is experiment, this hypothetical our law of mass action. Okay, that means we are assuming the reaction is elementary reaction. The reaction is what? Elementary reaction. That's why we are using the stoichiometry and powers both are equal. Okay, now here Rb is equal to some proportionally constant Kb multiplied by C to the power small c and D to the power small d. Let's suppose equation number 2. Okay, Now here, what is the Kb? Rate constant. Rate constant of backward reaction. What is the Rb? Rate of backward reaction. Do you know equilibrium condition? What is the definition of a equilibrium? It is a position, it is a state in a reversible reaction at where rate of forward reaction equal to the rate of backward reaction. So now what I am writing here, from equation 1 and 2, rate of forward reaction equal to, shall I write rate of reverse reaction, backward reaction? So from equation 1 and equation 2, shall I write Kf into a to the power small a, b to the power small b. That is the equation 1. In the equation 1, on the right hand side, if you see Kf into a to the power of a into b to the power of b. In the equation 2 on the right side, Kb into c to the power c into d to the power d. Okay. Now from here, what I am writing, Kf by Kb is equal to c raised to the power small c, d raised to the power small d, whole divided by a raised to the power small a and b raised to the power small b. Are you getting my point? Now what is the Kf by Kb? Kf, that is the rate constant of which reaction? Forward reaction, whole divided by what? Rate constant of which reaction? Backward or reverse reaction. Okay. Now this is Kf by Kb. The ratio between the rate constant of forward reaction to that of a rate constant of backward reaction is called equilibrium constant. Is called what? Equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant is a ratio between the rate constant of forward reaction to that of the rate constant of the backward reaction. This is a very important formula. Okay. From here, I am writing equilibrium constant K is equal to c raised to the power small c, d raised to the power small d, whole divided by a raised to the power small a and b raised to the power small b. Now this equilibrium constant, I am writing Kc. C stands for molar concentration. What is the C here? C stands for molar concentration. Okay. Now what is the Kc? Equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant in what? Molar concentrations. Okay. Now what are the capital A, square bracket of capital A, capital B, capital C and capital D? Equilibrium molar concentrations of A, B, C, D respectively. Okay. Equilibrium concentration of capital A, square bracket capital A, square bracket capital B, all these concentrations at equilibrium. This is a very, very important formula which is useful to calculate the equilibrium constant in molar concentration. Okay. Let's suppose if if all the reacting species are gases. Let's suppose all the participating species are gases, then we can express the another equilibrium constant which is known as Kp, that is the equilibrium constant in partial pressures. Okay, for gases we can measure the pressure, partial pressure, which is nothing but the its active mass. So partial pressure of C to the power small c, partial pressure of D to the power small d, whole divided by partial pressure of A to the power small a, partial pressure of B to the power small b. This is a very important useful expression regarding the partial pressures and equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressures. In terms of what? Partial pressures. Okay, this is a very important expression. What is the Kp here? Again, equilibrium constant in partial pressures. Okay, now Pa, Pb, Pc and Pd are equilibrium partial pressures of A, B, C, D species. Are you getting my point? Now here the important concept, relation between Kp and Kc, a very important derivation for objective point of view, the relation between Kp and Kc. So here Kp, that is the equilibrium constant in partial pressures, Kc, that is the equilibrium constant in molar concentration. Kp is equal to Kc multiplied by RT whole to the power delta Ng, whole to the power what? Delta Ng. So this is a very important relation between Kp and Kc. Okay, now here what is the Kp? Equilibrium constant in partial pressures. Okay, what is the Kc here? Equilibrium constant in molar concentrations. Do you know capital R? Yes, this is a universal gas constant. What is the capital R value? 0.0821 liter atmosphere, mole inverse and Kelvin inverse. This is a very important capital R value. Okay, sometime the capital R value roughly we can assume 1 by 12 also, 1 by 12, that is 0.08, 0.08. Okay, for calculation point of view. Now what is the T? T is the absolute temperature. Now the important thing is the delta Ng. What is the delta Ng? Delta Ng is the total or sum of number of moles of gaseous products minus sum of number of moles of gaseous reactants. This is very important. Delta Ng. What is the delta Ng here? Total number of moles of gaseous products minus total number of moles of gaseous reactants. Total number of moles of gaseous reactant. This is a very important. Okay. Now we know from ideal gas equation, that is PV is equal to nRT. So P is equal to, shall write N by V into RT. What is the N? Number of moles. What is the V? Volume. So number of moles upon volume, shall I write molar concentration. This is also known as active mass. This is also known as what? Active mass. So P is equal to some active mass multiplied by R into T. Okay, the species with respect to which we are dealing, that will be written in the square bracket. Okay, let's suppose, what is the partial pressure of A? Active mass of A multiplied by RT. Partial pressure of B, active mass of B multiplied by RT. And partial pressure of C, active mass of C multiplied by RT. And partial pressure of D is equal to active mass of D multiplied by RT. Okay, now we know PA, PB, PC, PC and PD. Okay, now we are writing Kp is equal to, once again, PC to the power C, PD to the power D whole divided by PA to the power small a and PB to the power small b. Here this is the expression of Kp. Okay, now in this Kp expression we know Pa, Pb, Pc and Pd. Okay, now I am writing Pc is equal to concentration of C RT to the power small c, Pd concentration of D into RT whole to the power small d. Okay, whole divided by concentration of A RT to the power small a and concentration of B into RT whole power small b. Okay, now from here I am writing Kp is equal to, now shall I write C to the power small c, D to the power small d whole divided by A to the power small a into B to the power small b. Now the remaining I am writing here RT in the numerator whole power C plus D whole divided by RT in the denominator whole to the power A plus B. Okay, now in the next step I am writing Kp is equal to, so this is, do you know this is the expression of the Kc expression? Yes, you see the Kc expression here. This is the expression of Kc. Okay, now instead of that expression I am writing the Kc. I am writing what? Kc. Okay, Kp is equal to what? Kc multiplied by, shall I write RT whole to the power C plus D minus of A plus B. Yes, now here what is the CD? Number of moles of products, that is the stoichiometric coefficients of the products. What are the AB? Stoichiometric coefficients of the reactant. So I am writing delta Ng, total number of moles of gaseous products C plus D minus total number of moles of gaseous reactant, that is the A plus B. This is the delta Ng. This is the delta Ng. Total number of moles of the gaseous products minus total number of moles of the gaseous reactants. Okay, now here I am writing Kp is equal to Kc into RT whole power delta Ng. So this is a very, very, very important, useful relation between Kp and Kc. Kp and Kc. What is the relation between Kp and Kc? Once again, Kp is equal to Kc into Rt whole to the power delta Ng. Okay. Now let's suppose Rt greater than 1. That means T greater than 1 by R. That means T greater than 12 Kelvin. Let's suppose. Generally, most of the reactions occurring at room temperature. Okay. At very low temperature, reactions cannot be possible. Okay. The temperature must be greater than the 12 Kelvin in this case. Okay. Now here the base is greater than 1. Then the Kp case relation depending upon delta Ng value. Yes, this is a, let's suppose this is a first case. In this first case, again depending upon the delta G value, let's suppose 0. That means number of moles of gaseous reactants equal to number of moles of gaseous products. So there is no any change. So if delta Ng value 0, shall I write Kp is equal to Kc? This is very, very, very important. When Kp become Kc, if delta Ng become 0. Let's suppose if the delta Ng value positive, then obviously Kp greater than what? Kc. Kp greater than what? Kc. Okay. Now if delta Ng less than 0, then Kp less than Kc. Kp less than Kc. Okay. I am giving some examples here. Now hydrogen combining with iodine to give hydrogen iodide. All are gaseous substances. Okay. Now you see 1 mole of a hydrogen, 1 mole of a iodine to give 2 moles of a hydrogen iodide. What is the delta Ng here? Total number of moles of gaseous products minus total number of moles of gaseous reactants, that is 0. Are you getting my point? Second example, PCl5 equilibrium PCl3 plus Cl2. Here 1 mole of a PCl3 gas will give 1 mole of a PCl3 gas and 1 mole of a Cl2 gas. So what is the delta Ng here? Product to number of moles of gaseous products 2 minus number of moles of gaseous reactant, that is equal to 1, which is greater than 0. Okay. Are you getting my point? Now third one is the N2 plus 3H2 equilibrium 2NH3. Now all the substances are gases. 1 mole nitrogen, 3 mole hydrogen to give 2 mole ammonia. Now what is the delta Ng here? 2 minus of 4 moles of reactant, that is minus 2. That means delta Ng value less than 0. So Kp is less than Kc. Kp is less than Kc. This is very important. Now there is a one more case is there. Let's suppose if the Rt value less than 1. Let's suppose that means temperature less than 1 by R. That means T is less than 12 Kelvin. Then if delta Ng 0, obviously Kp Kc equal. If delta Ng greater than 0, then the reverse one, Kp less than Kc. Here Kp greater than Kc, here Kp less than Kc. If delta Ng less than 0, that means Kp should greater than what? Kc. Are you getting my point? Now this is very important case. In generally, if the temperature in generally not given, that means the reaction should taking place at high temperature only. Okay. So T less than 12 Kelvin. That means this is minus 250 nearly, minus 270, minus 260. At that very low temperature, reactions are not feasible. So this is only assumption. This is only assumption, remember. And one more important one is there. Let's suppose if the RT value is equal to exactly 1, that means temperature is 1 by R, that is equal to 12 Kelvin. Are you getting my point? This is also one assumption. This is also one assumption. Are you getting my point? Now Kp is equal to what? Kc RT whole to the power delta Ng. Here the base is 1. Okay. 1 to the power anything is 1. So here Kp is equal to Kc. For all delta Ng 0 greater than 0 less than 0. Are you getting my point? So here there is no matter of the delta Ng. Once the temperature is 1 by R, that is the 12 Kelvin. This is very rare case. Case 3 is very rare case, and case 2 is also very rare case. The case 1, this is a very important case. In generally we use in numericals. Case 1 is very important. Unless until if temperature is not mentioned, we have to follow the case 1 only. Okay. So if the temperature is mentioned, according to that we have to solve the numerical. Are you getting my point? So the relation between Kp and Kc, that is a Kp is equal to Kc into RT whole to the power delta Ng. Okay. Now here let's suppose I have carbon, oxygen. Let's suppose this is a equilibrium reaction. Now here carbon is a solid, O2 CO2 gases. We have to consider only number of moles of gaseous reactants and products. Remember, here 1 mole of gas, here also 1 mole of a gas. Here for solids we should not consider the number of moles. Are you getting my point? So in this case delta Ng value 0, 1 minus 1. Okay. Let's suppose we have methane combustion of methane to give CO2 and H2O. H2O is a liquid, CO2, O2 and methane are gases. Remember, this is very important. Okay. Now this is how many moles? 1 mole. This is how many moles? 2 moles. This is how many moles? Only 1 mole. This is no moles because number of moles not considered for liquids and solids. Okay. Now here what is the delta Ng here? What is the delta Ng here? Total number of moles of gaseous products minus total number of moles of gaseous reactants, that is equal to minus 2. Are you getting my point? Now come to some numericals we have. Which are the following expression reaction Kp not equal to Kc? This is very important. Are you getting my point? First of all, calculate the delta Ng. In the first case, what is the delta Ng here? 1 mole gas, 2 moles. So delta Ng value will be equal to, if the delta Ng value 0, so obviously Kc is equal to Kp. You may have one doubt, sir, this is case 1, case 2 or case 3. So whenever there is temperature is not mentioned, we have to consider case 1 only. Are you getting my point? Now second one, just now I told you carbon is solid graphite, so we should not consider. Here 1 more, here 1 more, 1 minus 1, 0, delta Ng 0. Again Kp is equal to what? Kc. Kp is equal to what? Kc. Now in the third case, half O2, that is 0.5 moles on the left hand side and 1 mole on the right hand side. So delta Ng value is equal to 1 minus 0.5, that is equal to 0.5. That means here Kp should not equal to Kc. Here always Kp greater than Kc. Are you getting my point? Now in the fourth case, this is 1 mole, this is 1 mole, this is 1 mole, this is 1 mole. So delta Ng 0, That means here also Kp is equal to what? Kc. So Kp is not equal to Kc. That is the option number 3. Option number 3. Okay. Now come to next one. For the reaction, Kp of the reaction is given 2 into 10 raised to here 2 into some value here missing, I think. Let's suppose this value 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 atm. Okay, then find the value of Kc for the above reaction at which temperature? 300 Kelvin temperature. First of all, write the equation. What is the given equation? N2 plus 3H2 equilibrium what? 2NH3. All species are gases. Okay, now here 1 mole, here 3 mole, here 2 mole. So what is the delta Ng value? That is equal to minus 2. Okay, so what is the relation here? Kp is equal to Kc RT whole to the power delta Ng. Delta Ng minus 2. So Kp is equal to Kc RT whole power minus 2, or Kp is equal to Kc is equal to Kp into RT whole square. Shall I write like this? Okay, now here Kc is equal, what is the Kp? 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 into, what is the R value? What is the R value? I told you 1 by 12 for simplification, into what is the temperature is given to you here? 300 whole square. Okay, so 2 into 10 raised to minus 2, 2 into 10 raised to minus 2. Here 3 table will be cancelled. Okay, 3 table 3 4s are 3 100, 100 by 4, that is the 25, 25 whole square is the 625. That is it, 1250 into 10 raised to minus 2. Are you getting my point? That is the answer, 12.50. This is the Kc value. Kp given to you, temperature is known, R value we know, so we can find the Kc. Kc given, we can find Kp, or vice versa. Okay, now find the Kp by Kc ratio. Okay, first of all, Kp by Kc is equal to, shall I write all T whole to the power delta Ng? Yes or no? Now, what is the delta Ng in the first question? Here 1, here 0.5, here 1. So the value will be minus 0.5. So Kp by Kc expression value RT to the power minus 1 by 2. So 1 by under root RT. First one. Are you getting my point? In the second one, 1 mole, 1 mole. This is iodine. Okay. This is 2 mole. So delta Ng value what? 0. So Kp Kc ratio 1. Kp is equal to Kc. Okay. Next to 1 mole, 3 mole, 2 mole. So delta Ng value how much? Minus 2. So Kp by Kc is equal to RT to the power minus 2. That means 1 by RT whole square. Okay. Next to 1 mole gives 1 mole plus 1 mole, 2 mole. So delta Ng is equal to 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. So Kp by Kc is equal to RT to the power delta Ng, that is 1. Okay. Now here N2 plus 3H2, 2NH3, equilibrium reaction is given to you. If the concentrations of nitrogen, hydrogen, ammonia 0.5, 1 molar, 2 molar, then find the equilibrium constant. Now first of all, equilibrium constant is equal to, shall I write the concentration of the products whole divided by concentration of what? Reactant. This is very important. Now how many products we have? Only one product, that is ammonia. What is the stoichiometry of ammonia? 2. That should be raised to the power whole divided by nitrogen. One reactant is there, the stoichiometry will be 1. So 1 raised to the power. And the next reactant is hydrogen and stoichiometry 3, that is the power 3. Okay, now what is the ammonia concentration given? 2 molar, so 2 whole square, whole divided by, what is the nitrogen concentration given to you? 0.5 molar into, what is the hydrogen concentration given to you? 1 molar, so 1 cube. Okay, so final answer is 8. Final answer is what? 8. Okay, now here, now the value given here, 2 into 10 raised to minus 2, this will be 4 into 10 raised to minus 4. So this is a ester hydrolysis in acidic medium. Okay, now in the above reversible reaction, rate constants of forward reaction and backward reactions are given. Then find the equilibrium constant. We know in the equilibrium constant derivation, K equilibria, nothing but the rate constant of forward reaction to that of the rate constant of the reverse reaction or backward reaction. Yes or no? What is the forward reaction rate constant here? Kf. Here actual this is minus 2, here minus 4. This will be the Kb. Okay. So 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 whole divided by 4 into 10 raised to minus 4. So this will be 100 by 2. That will be 50. Equilibrium constant is 50. Okay, now here the hydrogen and iodine and HI gases partial pressures are given. Then find the equilibrium constant. Now for Kp expression, we have to write the partial pressure of the products divided by partial pressure of the reactants. Now here only one product is there, so partial pressure of HI, the stoichiometry raised to the power, divided by, here two reactants are there, that is the partial pressure of hydrogen, stoichiometry 1, power 1, and partial pressure of iodine, stoichiometry 1, so the power raised to 1. Okay, now what is the HI concentration? HI partial pressure is given to you how many atm? 1 atm whole divided by, what is the hydrogen pressure given to you? 0.5 atm. 0.5 atm. What is the iodine pressure given to you? 2 atm. Okay, so this will be 1, this will be 1, so Kp value become what? 1. So this is the calculation of Kp and Kc. Very important relation, the relation between Kp and Kc. This is very important relation. Okay.